What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new locals feature match. And as you guys may have noticed, there was no feature match yesterday, and that was mainly because our locals on Saturday, where I normally record features, our power was actually out in the store, and everybody showed up. People were dueling with flashlights on, and unfortunately, the power did not come back on in time. So the locals got canceled, but we do have locals on Tuesday, so I figured I would just record on Tuesday to make up for those matches that I didn't get to record. And here we are in round one with Earth Machine and Salamangreat facing off. My friend Adam on the left playing Earth Machine, and my friend Gene on the right playing Salamangreat. Relatively new to the Salamangreat strategy, so if he does not make the absolute best plays, please cut my man some slack and maybe leave some pointers down in the comments below. But as our Earth Machine player gets started here, let's take a look at the poll results for this match. I asked you guys who you thought would win, and about 470 votes, 61% saying Earth Machine, and only 39 saying Salamangreat. So let's see if you guys are correct, as our EM player is getting ready to storm the rivers with that River Stormer, detaching Trencher to go ahead and search any Earth Machine, and either we'll take any Earth Machine monster and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. Very, very versatile card. One reason I really like it, especially going against Drollock, you can always dump Citadel as sort of a plan B. And now we are going to see him link the Stormer into a Goliath, and then Stormer send Goliath, and then link that Stormer into another Goliath. Importantly, playing around a draw 3 Phantasme, if you can absolutely help it. This deck, it's very easy to give your opponent that draw 3, but there is definitely ways to play around it, and we're seeing him do that here. Obviously, you could have just easily linked, the Stormer into a Goliath, and then the Drill into another Goliath, and link both of those into the Ballista, but obviously there's no real need to do that. Obviously, they'll still get the draw 2, but why let him get a draw 3? So we see him resolve the Ballista. That adds Box and another Drill. Our EM player here on 2 Drill, which I am definitely an advocate for, as well as 3 Fortress. My brother's been playing this deck a lot lately, and I've been kind of watching from the side, and he's been on 3-4, and I think 3-4 is really strong. One of the best extenders in the entire deck, and lets you play through hand traps, and a lot of times assemble game when you need it. And allows you to set up a lot of awesome graveyard plays just by, having the constant discard outlet, if you will. So it looks like we'll see him get into Knuckle. He'll set one. He'll add one back off of the Bullet, which is going to be Box, of course, to try to establish that resource loop, if at all possible. And he will end turn with just the Knuckle and the 1 set. And our Salamangreat player opening that one-of copy of Salamangreat Circle. You'll love to see it. And one thing, speaking for Salad specifically, I hope this deck does get Mirage Stalio back to 3. I don't know why this card was banned for as long as it was. It definitely should no longer be at 1. I don't think it really makes a difference if the card is at 3 or 1, mainly because I think most builds only ever play 1 to begin with. Same thing with Gazelle. I think Gazelle is a card that could also probably go to 2. To kind of test the waters. I think Salamangreat Circle is a card that probably should stay at 1 because it is a settable, reusable Rhoda every turn if the deck is played correctly, and I think that's where things start to get a little scary in terms of consistency and also the protection that Circle offers as well. But I'm trying to help out my Salad friends because I think the deck does deserve a little bit of help off of the ban list. But we are going to see him summon a Gazelle here. And also now linking for Balinks, and Balinks will add a copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary. Opening Circle plus Signet. Very, very strong opening here. And now we're going to see him send a Falco as well off of the Gazelle. And has definitely some good extenders in the grave here in the form of Spinny and Falco. But we're going to see him bring back the Spinny, because he does control a Salamangreat monster, and he's going to be able to overlay into the Fire Horse himself, Mirage Stalio, and can detach, of course, to summon a Salamangreat monster from the deck. And I believe once you use that effect, you can only activate the effect of fire monsters for the rest of the turn. So this is effectively going to lock him out of things like transcode, update jammer, access code, etc. And as expected, if there's going to be one point that you're going to Ash Salamangreat nowadays, it's going to be on the Mirage Stalio. You know, sometimes it's very, very impactful, often turn ending, or, you know, they might have just opened the stones and they can keep going through it. I think our Sal player is going to attempt to leave the main phase. That's why we see Bullet get activated, or not Bullet, Knuckle, rather, sending itself to bring back Bullet, putting it on the field, basically saying to his opponent, hey, get over this card, you know, put it in the grave for me so I can get an end phase recursion of probably either the Trencher or the Drill. And, you know, I gain, you know, big resources by doing that. Or you leave this level 10 body on the field for me to do whatever next turn, because its effects are negated too because it was brought off of the Knuckle. So we could put it into attack and, you know, just swing over something with it and not have to send for its effect. Because normally when Bullet attacks, you have to send 2 other cards you control before it can declare. But not if it's negated by the Knuckle. And we're going to see him now link into a Sunlight Wolf. And this is probably something else he could have done here. Instead of attacking into the Bullet, he probably could have just linked the Mirage Stalio away for the Sunlight Wolf, using Mirage Stalio to spin the Bullet back to the deck. Or back to the hand, I believe it would go. I can't remember if Stalio goes hand or deck. But either way, he would not get the end phase effect. But and then he would have gotten in for a little bit more damage, maybe. Or maybe a little less. But I think, you know, bouncing back the Bullet, if possible, is the thing to do. So now we are going to see him attempt to relink. But being informed that you can only use the relink effect of the field spell once per turn, so he's just going to be able to still get into another Sunlight Wolf regardless, because he does have the Falco to help him link into another copy, and he's able to add back the Roar, or the Rage rather, which, you know, is some pretty, like, Rage Roar in general, like, not terrible against the Earth Machine deck, especially if they don't have Citadel established already, because if you can clear their field very early, after they've used critical cards like Trencher, etc. It's very easy to slow them down to, you know, they can still probably play through a Rage, but not nearly to the extent that they would like to. So we're going to see him summon out the fort by pitching a Trencher and itself, and then we're going to see him activate redeployment. Now, he does have Twin Twister in the hand. Could have easily just start things off by using that Twin to hit the 2 sets, which I think would be pretty solid, but, you know, the discard outlet sometimes is not the best. Or the cost of having to discard, of course, is not really super desirable, but if it was me personally, I think I would have twinned those back row, because I love resolving a Twin Twister. But to each their own. Trencher now bringing out Drill, and Drill will attempt to activate, summon a machine from the hand in defense position. And he could bring out the box here, which is probably what we'll see. And he is going to be able to establish Ding. Now, he could activate the Rage here, but, I mean, you do have to have some pretty good hindsight to know that he is going to make Ding, which, of course, hard counters that of Rage, because it does destroy, and Ding, of course, can protect. He will negate the effect of Ding to send, which I imagine is what he was using there. And he will negate with Roar. He will detach to, of course, protect the Ding. Luckily, the Roar does not negate summons, only effects of, I think, monster spells and traps. And now, checking the graveyard here to see what else, you know, as far as plays he has available. He does have Citadel. He does have a Knuckle live in grave, which is great. Going to act as a good discard outlet for the Citadel to get it into the graveyard. Of course, Fortress could act as a good discard outlet, but it is on the field right now. No way to get it there at this current point in time. And also, just reestablishing Knuckle every turn is a good thing to do, because it allows you to keep getting your bullet onto the field during your opponent's turn. A great card to blow up with Citadel and getting you that end phase recursion. But it looks like we're going to see him go into the battle phase here, and we're going to see that Rage get activated, which is a little unfortunate for 2 reasons. He has the Ding to protect, obviously, and if one of those Earth Machines would have gotten destroyed, it would have procced the Citadel. So he's going to be able to basically completely negate the Roar, or the Rage, rather. We will see Baylynx protect the Sunlight Wolf one time, but it is going to get destroyed eventually, and he'll get in for a decent amount of damage here. And now we'll see what kind of shenanigans he is going to do in main phase 2. He is currently not locked into Earth Machines, so Zeus is possible here, but he just needs an Xyz monster with some materials, and it looks like he is going to resolve the Dozer here. I mean, that's going to keep him from getting into Zeus, but we'll see what kind of board he can try to establish. I mean, one thing he could technically try to do here is give that Dingirsu another material with the help of Infinitrack Goliath. So we will see if he does that. Goliath is such a versatile card in the Earth Machine deck, giving your Zeuses, your Earth Slicers, River Stormers, Dingirsus extra materials when they need them. So we're going to see him link the Harvester into a Goliath as expected. Stormer will send the Goliath, and that will proc Goliath effect Engrave to attach to the River Stormer, and also giving it material to be able to search with. And he can go ahead and grab any Earth Machine, and either add it to his hand or send it to the graveyard. Looks like he's going to go ahead and get a copy of Trencher. Now, one thing too, going back to the Rage, not going to use it before the Ding. Again, he would have to know that his opponent is on Ding, and Earth Machine is not one of those decks that too many people are aware of. Our opponent, our Salad player here included, I would imagine, doesn't know the entire Earth Machine extra deck in and out. But also, the Rage did do a good job at forcing all of the materials. But now it looks like we're going to see Twin Twister get activated here before he goes any further. Now finally using the Twin to clear the Will and the Sanctuary. So I guess now him holding the Twin does make a little bit of sense. You know, you can play through Rage and Roar as we did see, so why not hold the Twin to clear arguably two cards that are going to be more of, you know, higher impact, I guess, because they don't do anything on your turn, but they will do a great job at helping him recover on the following turn. So if you can clear those, essentially leaving him with nothing, why not go ahead and do that? So, interestingly enough, he is going to just end on the Ding with no materials, but there still is a way for him to get that material on the Ding if he wants to, and I'll see if anybody in the comments knows how he will do that. If you play the Earth Machine deck, it's probably pretty obvious. We'll see what he decides to do now. See him normal summon the Gazelle. That dumps, I think, Jack Jaguar, and then he's going to summon Spinny to the field. Contemplating a rank 3 play. And I think we're not going to see that. I think we're just going to see a Sunlight Wolf come out as he banishes the Spinny, since after it is summoned via that effect, it does get banished when it leaves the field. And now we're going to see Jack Jaguar activate. It's going to go ahead and bounce back Sunlight Wolf to the extra deck to summon itself to his own. That's a Salamangreat monster points to. And that will proc Sunlight Wolf effect to add back a fire monster in the grave to the hand, adding back Gazelle, of course. Want to keep recycling that card as much as possible. And if he relinks here with the Jaguar and Sunlight Wolf into another Sunlight Wolf, he can trigger the effect of Roar in the grave to set itself back, and then use Sunlight Wolf's effect, its other effect, to grab back the Rage, getting back both of his traps there relatively easy. But before he does anything else, we're going to see our train player activate the Knuckle, sending off the Goliath as cost to reborn the Bullet, and that is going to trigger Goliath to reattach itself to Dingirsu. And since he did attack over the Knuckle with Sunlight Wolf, taking 300 damage, he will get to proc Citadel here, which is really, really huge. Now we're going to see him use Citadel. That's going to put the Bullet back in the grave. Luckily for him, he does have a Balinx in, in the grave to protect. If he did not, otherwise his entire field would go due to the Citadel destroying everything the opponent controls, all monsters the opponent controls that have attack less than or equal to the destroyed monster, the attributed monster that Citadel, gets sort of as part of its effect. So we're just going to see him relink into another Sunlight Wolf, doing this here, looks like in main phase 2. And getting back both of those traps, you love to see that. Showing him where the Roar is, and I think that will probably do it for his turn. We're going to see our Earth Machine player resolve the Knuckle, or not the Knuckle, the Bullet rather. It's going to add back the Drill, and I know our Earth Machine player is on 2 Drill, and I mean, he could have probably added back the box there, Box could have also added another drill from deck, but then again, I don't know if it's in his graveyard currently. So we'll see what he does to get his turn started here. Looks like he is going to link off that Dozer into Goliath, which makes sense because you do have a card like Riverstormer in the grave, which is that recurable searcher every turn. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely love that card, and Goliath coming in handy to give that Stormer the material it needs to be able to search him any Earth Machine. And of course, any machine monster that has Goliath as material gains the additional effect where it cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is so strong. And now we're going to see him pitch Metal Cruncher, which late game does a excellent job as acting as free fortress fodder. And I think our Earth Machine player here is going to try to assemble game. He definitely has the means to do it. We're going to see him activate the Rage, and, you know, don't care, didn't ask, just going to go ahead and protect with the Dingirsu. But I mean, you got to try anyways. You got to get that material off of the Ding. Cannot, you know, use the Roar on the Fortress because it does not activate. And I think we're going to see him calculate game here if he can stay under 5 summons. Importantly, if you're going to make a big push for game with this deck, best to try and play around Nibiru as much as possible. And I definitely think he can go for a game here, but because he does have access to Gaia Charger, which is an incredible card to play in the Earth Machine extra deck. If you are not already playing it, I would highly recommend trying it. Because it takes a card like Stormer in a situation just like this and turns it into a 2600 Pierce. And then also gives you a Zeus with 2 materials later on. So obviously nothing he can do to that. And we'll see him probably attempt to enter battle phase here. And I don't know that there's much our Salad player can do here, unfortunately. He will attack over that Sunlight Wolf at 3k, taking 12, 26, 25, and 26, which is going to be game. And also learning a valuable lesson there that Gazelle cannot activate in the damage step when a Salad monster is destroyed by battle. And that is going to seal the deal. Earth Machine taking game 1 rather commandingly. And as we head into a game 2 situation, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys are looking for amazing playmats, binders, deck boxes, dice, and more, check them out at the link below. You guys can get all of their products for 10% off using my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout, and support the channel in the process. And lastly, if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please do not forget to use my affiliate link found in the description below. If you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes right back in the channel and helps out a ton, especially for cards you're already going to be buying at no extra cost to you guys. So we're going to see our Salad player go first here, obviously opening up Signet Chiefing, pitching off that copy of Salamangreat Will. Probably not a card you really want to be discarding unless you absolutely have to, but we're going to see the Gazelle get normal summoned here, and it is going to send Spinny, and he's going to use Spinny now, and going to go for that little 1-card rank 3 into Mirage Stalio, but our Earth Machine player does have Impermanence, and that is going to do a great job at shutting off that play completely. And I believe our Salad player opened up Circle, Sanctuary, and a copy of Rage, or Roar rather. I keep getting them mixed up. But I wonder if there's a way he could play that differently. He would have had to like use Circle first to get Spinny, and then like sign it away the Spinny to grab something else. And he could have got Jack Jaguar or like Foxy. So I think he could have definitely gave himself more extenders there. I'm not sure if he's aware of the fact that you can like use Signet Mining to proc your Gazelle in hand. But either way, Impermanence is Impermanence, and it will turn off the Mirage Stalio, and unfortunately not able to get into Banelings because that does require a level 4 lower Cybers, which the Mirage Stalio is not. Rank 4 lower, by the way. And our Earth Machine player did not have the most stellar hand, but he did have essentially enough. Or it wasn't Circle, I guess. It was or Enemy Controller. I thought it was Circle in his hand, but it is Econ. Interesting little tech here. Is kind of nice because it can be used to proc Gazelle during your opponent's turn by also taking their extenders. But, you know, speaking of our Earth Machine player here, he opened 3 heavy forward, he opened 2 in the original 5, and then drew the 3rd for his 6th card. Really unlucky. But he's going to take the Tunneler from him, which is a little bit of a disruption, only a minor inconvenience, I would say. He's going to have to either burn his battle phase or go for a potential rank 9 play here if he wants to clear it and put it back into his graveyard. But I think doing the battle phase route, now looking back, does make a little bit more sense because he can do this, which is essentially, you know, linking off both these monsters for double Goliath. Load up the graveyard for a solid Trencher. The more extra deck cards you can put back off of Trencher, the better it becomes as a draw card. Essentially being able to put back only 1 into the main deck and then draw 2. Most optimally, you put back 5. But then again, maybe he could have done the Slicer route. Slicer, pop the Tunneler, and then link the Slicer into a Goliath, and I'm not sure. Maybe he could have done it, but this also works just fine. Go into the battle phase to clear it with the Ballista, and then 25 from the Fortress, and then link into another Goliath, and then link both the Goliath and the Fortress now into a Knuckle. That'll get the grave completely loaded up with those 4 beautiful blue cards. Triple Goliath, the Ballista, and the Dozer going back into the main deck, leaving him with only a Trencher, a Harvester, and a Fortress, which, to be honest, are pretty good cards to have in the graveyard. And I believe he draws Derricrane Harvester. Not like the best draws in the world, but it'll certainly have to do for now. And 2 heavy forward in hand as well. 2 heavy forward, by the way. We're walking forward. And we're going to see him pitch the Derricrane for the Fortress, and that'll do it for his turn. And the thing is with having Fortress on field is it does act as like kind of a temporary roadblock. If they do want to destroy it by battle or target with a monster, you know, it is going to put up some form of resistance. But now here, I believe our Salamangreat player actually has game on board, with just by the normal summon of that Sea Archiver and having a card like Balinks, or not Balinks, but Spinny Engrave rather, because he did normal the Sea Archiver into the Balinks, and then he brought back the Spinny, and with it the Sea Archiver. So we could have linked into Update Jammer with the Archiver and the Balinks, and then link the Spinny and the Update Jammer into Transcode. Transcode bring back Update, link those for Access Code, which goes up to 53 and attacks twice. You banish a Wind, and you banish a Fire, pop both of the Knuckle and the Fortress, which I don't believe the Access Code targets. So it won't trigger the effect of Fortress. Even if it did, you don't really care because you have a double attacking 5300 access code. And if he tries to chain, I mean, you can't even chain to the Knuckle because, you know, you can't activate effects in response. So I think this is just a bit of inexperience here for our Salad player, which is fine. You know, you do got to learn the deck. I do think Salad is a hard deck to pilot. Maybe a little less now that access code is in the game and it's just such like an easy, free way to go for a game. But turn 3 Salad is kind of hard to play, in my opinion. Some people might disagree. I think access code existing certainly does make it a little bit easier. Going into Heat Leo, also being informed that, unfortunately, Mirage Dahlia only gets the spin back effect when it is Ixie summon and not just special summon from the grave off something like Will. But Heat Leo is out on the board, shuffling back a heavy forward, which, unbeknownst to him, his opponent has 2 more in his hand. And then we're going to see Knuckle chain, bringing back a Derricrane. Not the most optimal target. Ideally would be something like Bullet, but unfortunately did not have a way to get to it on his first turn. And then we're going to just see him set one, run over the Derricrane, and end his turn. Has double heavy forward in hand. I think he drew a Fortress for turn here, which is not terrible because Fortress in the hand is always a great card to have, especially when you just have your normal starters, any extra extenders, literally just any machine monster in your deck paired with it becomes a free 2500 body that can help set up the grave. Now we're going to see the Trencher in grave activate to bring back the Harvester from the grave instead of committing the normal, and that is going to search Dozer. And this is going to be the point where our Earth Machine player is going to start snowballing some advantage pretty hard here. Has access to a rank 9 play and also has a way to get to Dozer if he wants to. We're just going to see him make a rank 9, I think, before he wants to commit to the Dozer, because obviously if you Dozer, you are locked into Earth Machine Monster the rest of the turn, which Enter Blaster unfortunately is not. It is a Wind. And now going to use one of its many banish effects, either one from the field, grave, hand, or top of the deck, interestingly enough. And I think our Earth Machine player told me that he wishes he would have rather just banished something from grave instead of getting rid of the Will, because he could have just established a Zeus here, which obviously would have took care of all of the other cards in the field, and Balinks cannot protect from sending, only destruction. So that clears the Will, that clears the Sanctuary, everything else included. So I think he said he made a little bit of a misstep there. But either way, we're going to see him go into the battle phase with the Enter Blathnir and the Fortress, getting in as much damage as he can over top of the Heat Leo. Bailing's protecting one time. So only taking a little bit of damage there. And there's the Zeus in main phase 2 using heavy forward to attach. Now he could do a little bit of Sos here too if he wants to. He could try to find some way to get a Goliath on board. So when he does board wipe with Zeus, the Goliath effect will activate, reattaching to the Zeus, giving him a second board wipe. But he may not actually need it here. We'll just have to see. Normal summon of Foxy. And I don't think he used the effect there of Foxy. But he will chain Zeus regardless. And then we're going to see him summon the Gazelle. Obviously, since a Salamangreat monster hit the grave. And the Gazelle is going to dump the Rage. Now, fortunately, the Sea Archiver is getting banished. And no Spinny in grave either. I think sending Spinny here would have been a lot better. But then again, you know, maybe didn't see that play. Because again, he is still new to the deck. And I better see some helpful, encouraging comments down there from anybody that is familiar with Salad. I want my man to become the Salad King. So I do think the deck has a lot of potential. It's one of those decks that it really takes the pilot. Really, the pilot decides how well the Salamangreat deck will perform, in my opinion. It does have a lot of potential still. But yeah, it looks like he's just going to pass turn there, unfortunately. And he's going to activate heavy forward. And he's going to go ahead and search. And I think this game is going to be wrapping up here very, very shortly. As it's not going to be that hard to try to put game on board here, especially with Zeus. And a way to resolve Dozer. So our Salamangreat player is going to admit defeat. Earth Machine taking the match 2-0. Looks like you guys were correct with the prediction this time. Be on the lookout for the round 2-1. If you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, I want to give a special shout out to all of our YouTube channel members, but a special thanks to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Pony Star, Keith Sidgers, and Daryl Best. Thank you guys so much, as always.